Hello everyone, welcome! Today we are going to have a look on all Warlocks, the subclasses and what they get. On not only the abilities but also the exclusive spells. We are going to rate each of that, and in the end we are going to see who is the best Warlock, who is the Warlock that stands on the top of the mountain. Let's do it! Now the Fiend Warlock lies to our face. It says here in the spells, Armor for Gatis and Armor for Daha, right? So these are spells all Warlocks can have. But that's a lie. Actually, the Fiend Warlock will give us Burning Hands and Command. No other Warlock in Baldur's Gate 3 will have these two spells. I don't know why it does that, but it's doing on my game at least. So how good are they? Burning Hands is actually the best AoE early level spell we can get. Pretty cool. Not a big area, not a big damage. But if you're talking about you want to AoE damage someone, that's your spell. So I'll give you a 6. You will swap it later, but you will get the job done on another level. Now Command is very nice, make someone fall, drop something, and etc. But not very nice to use on your limited Warlock spell slot, so I'll give it a 2. Now for the passive, that's the Dark One's Blessing. That is a very strong passive. Whenever you down a creature, you get temporary hit points equal to your Warlock level plus your Charisma modifier. That's a lot. That makes the Fiend the tankiest of the Warlocks. And that's almost a class-defining ability, but not quite. So give it an 8. The Great Old One also brings 2 spells that no Warlock can have. Distant Whisperers is a very nice Bard exclusive spell. Not that good on Warlocks. It will scale the damage of level, but that's a small scale, 1d6 per level. So, I mean, I'll give it a 4. I'll give it a 4, because it is useful to have more choices. Now, Tasha's Hideous Laughter, it is also a nice spell. I should love that on my Wizards, like on my Sorcerer. I don't really like that on my Warlock, though. Again, you have a small amount of spell slots, and your spell slot, as level goes by, you are going to be higher and higher. But I think you can give it a 4, you can use maybe a very early game, and then swap later. Again, choices are good. For the Mortal Reminder, it's a passive ability, so that's pretty nice. Whenever you critical hit a creature, that creature and every other foe nearby must make a wisdom saving throw or become frightened. That's pretty cool. I like to have it. We're not going to be killing hit with creatures all the time, but it is nice to have. It's a plus, and makes us, well, maybe we make a Warlock crit build, right? I'll give it a 5. Now, the Archfey. We do get 2 spells to choose from, new spells. The Warlocks can't have access. Fairy Fire, it is a nice spell actually, because yes, it doesn't scale with level, but it's a very useful spell to have. So maybe you want to have that on your pocket if the situation asks for it. I think Fairy Fire should get a 6, just because it's versatility. And Sleep. Now that's a very powerful spell on the early levels. Level 1 and 2, pretty good. Level 3 starts falling up, but as a Warlock, if we cast that on level 3, we are going to scale that up. So you can still use it on level 3 as a Warlock, and then you can swap on level 4. It's even so powerful that I think that's an 8. You're going to swap it later, but the first levels, man, the chef's kiss. We also get Fey Presence. We use our action, and then we can choose to either charm or frighten nearby fools, and that's alright. I think that's worse than the Great Old One passive ability, because we're spending our action to do that. But I will give it a 4, because it's still something we can do, and yeah, I'll give it a 4. Level 3, our Fiend Warlock. We have 2 spells available exclusive to him. The first one will be Scorching Ray, and now that's a very good spell. That's probably the best single target damage spell you can have, apart from the likes of Disintegrate, etc. It is very powerful. We have so many builds that are powerful with that. pretty strong. I'll give it an 8. Does a very good job. The other spell that we get is the Fiend is Shatter. Now that's an AoE. These will replace our Burning Hands. We get the Burning Hands away, and then get the Shatter here, and it is alright. As the Burning Hands, nothing special, but bigger area, better damage type. Let's give it a 6. Level 3 for Great Old One. We get these two exclusive spells. Phantasmal Force is the first one, and it sucks. You spend your action against one enemy, they will save with their intelligence. If they fail, they will take 1d6 damage every turn, provided you maintain your concentration. That's the second level spell. Yeah. Or you could just hex the enemy for your bonus action and hit him with your Splash, and they take 1d6 extra damage. And if you're level 5, you hit him 2 times, they take 2d6 extra damage. And level 11, 3 times, and so on, right? And if you're a Warlock and Sorcerer, use Quickening spell, on the next turn more. So no, that's a very bad spell. I give it a 0. Now the other one is actually very good. Detect Thoughts is pretty neat. If you have it, whenever you're like interacting with someone, you can cast it, and then you can try to delve into their mind and know their secrets. It's pretty good for interaction, pretty good social spell. I love that. I will give it a 7 just because I think that's important to have at least one person in the party that can cast it. It's not good for the Archfey Warlock on level 3, guys, not good. First spell, Calm Emotions, know what the Warlock has, because why would they want? You make people that they can so they can't be charmed, frightened, or become enraged. So circumstantial. At its end, it is a concentration spell. And last 10 turns, I don't know. You either remove the concentration or make it last a lot. So circumstantial. It is very bad spell. I'm giving it a 2. Maybe you can find some use for it. The other one is even worse. I thought it was exclusive for the Great Old One. But both the Archfey and the Great Old One get it. So Phantasmal Force. Shitty spell. That's a 0. That's even worse than I thought, because I thought it was exclusive. So I can't give you a minus, but I wish I could. Level 5 is where magic happens for the Fiend Warlock. There is a spell defining class here. Lots of people will make a Warlock, a Fiend one, just to have access to this spell. Fireball. And as you know, Fireball solves everything. I'll put a video in the description where you can see why I'm talking about that. It is a 10. Can't get better than that in terms of AoE. You have a Fireball, and if you cast at 4th level, your Fireball is bigger, and 5th level, your Fireball is bigger. Yes, we're happy about that. A 10. Now, the other spell we get is called the Sinking Cloud. And yeah, next to Fireball stinks. Let's give it a 2. At the 5th level is the Great Old One. The spells that are exclusive to us are Bestow Curse. Sorry if I murdered the word, okay? Pretty much you curse someone and they will be affected by these conditions. And it is alright, but I don't think it's worth getting with your Warlock, if you know what I mean. I will give it a 4 because it is an interesting spell. But the other one, Slow, is actually a very good spell. You affect up to 6 creatures on this level, and they will lose 8 armor class, they will lose dexterity saving throw, and also they are slowed, and the condition is pretty like bonkers. They will have half move speed, they can't take reactions, they can't make more than 1 attack per turn, and they can either take an action or a bonus action. And also for spellcasters, spells might be delayed for 1 turn. So that's actually a pretty good spell. I'll give it an 8. If you use properly, you can win a combat. Our Archfey Warlock made to the 5th level. And we don't have Fireball, unfortunately. We do get a nice spell in Blink. So Blink is actually a little bit complicated. You use your action to cast Blink. At the end of your turn, a D20 will be rolled, A level or higher, you go to the ethereal plane, that you're pretty much immune to damage, or control, etc. And you just leave a representation there. When you come back, at the beginning of your next turn, you come back to any place within 6 meters. That's actually pretty good. That means 50% of the time you're going to spend becoming immune. It is a pretty nice and cool spell. It doesn't require concentration. It's actually a very strong defensive tool. I will give it an 8. I like this spell. The other spell we get, unfortunately, is not as good. It is called Plant Growth. Use your action, and then you target some plants in the ground. I mean, nature in the ground, right? And you don't need to target a little plant, just target the ground. And weeds will burst from it. And they will create like this area. Or anyone moving through it gets quarter of their speed, so it's even worse than difficult terrain. It's double the penalty. It is okay. It is not concentration, so that's okay. There is some application to that. If to Warlocks, maybe a little bit less, because they only have 2 spells on this level, but you can try any. I'll give it a 6, because if you're able to combo some spells with that, then it's very powerful. So a 6. At level 6 we get now a subclass ability. In the case of the Fiend Warlock, it will be Dark One's Own Luck. So basically we can add 1d10 to our ability checks. You can, whenever making a skill check, you can just choose the bonus from below and add it to the roll. You can do that. With that, it comes back on a short rest. It's a cool ability, but nothing special about it, and you can't use it on saving throws or in combat. I mean, at least not to attack or saving throws. I'll give it a 5, because it's nice to have it. And we'll make sure that sometimes we'll be able to succeed in things we would not be. When you reach the level 6 of the Great Old One Warlock, we get a nice ability, Entropic Ward. As a reaction, you put on the reaction tab, so you can use whenever you want. You impose the advantage for an attack roll against you only. If it misses, you get advantage on your next attack roll against the attacker for 1 turn. So it's alright. It also recharges on short rest. I'll give it probably a 5. No, a 4. Because it's like 3 times per day you can make one attack have the advantage. I'll give it a 5. Let's give it a 5, and that's alright. The Archfey Warlock on level 6 gets a pretty cool ability, Misty Escape. It is very good on tabletop. Basically, you take damage, you use a reaction, you become invisible and teleport at the same moment, and you stay invisible until your next turn. And it recharges every short rest. Here, you're not going to teleport right away. You're going to use a reaction, you can set on the reaction tab, and then you become invisible, and then on your next turn, you can use a Misty Step for free. You don't spend any spell slots, and you don't even spend the bonus action, which is cool. But not as cool as teleporting on the same time, because there is also a problem. If you take damage between being invisible and your next turn, you're going to appear. And if you appear, you can't use your Misty Step next turn. Yeah. Shield comes every short rest, can save you. You might be able to use Misty Step for free, totally free. I'll give it a 7. It is a cool ability. At level 7 as a Fiend Warlock, we get access to 2 other elemental spells. First would be Wallfire. Wallfire is a good spell. It is kind of like a fireball, but in a strange area that stays on the ground. Now, if you're making a group and if you're like taking advantage of the firewall there, you can push people to it, isolate areas, so it is useful. I like to have it. The damage is good also, so I'm guessing should be at least a 7 for Wallfire. And the other spell we get is Fire Shield, which is not a bad spell. You get resistance to either fire or cold damage. Whenever someone hits you, you can retaliate and does damage. You can deal damage to them. But you don't want to be taking damage, you don't want to be on the front line as a Warlock. Even though the Fiend is tankier of the Warlocks, you don't really want that. So, I don't know. Yeah, I imagine you can have a wold or remake a build for that. But not the thing we really want, so I'll give it a 5. Now you reach the 7th level with your Great Old One Warlock, and what are your exclusive spells? Well, Dominate Beast is the first one. There aren't a lot of beasts in the game for you to fight. And I can't think of many very strong beasts, so yeah, don't waste your spell slot with that. I will give it a 2, just because. Now, Advanced Black Tentacles. It is a strong spell on D&D 5th edition, don't get me wrong, but I don't like it on the Baldur's Gate. I don't know why. You cast it at its difficult terrain, and it says your tentacles will attack and smolder creatures. So they're not going to attack though, they will restrain the creatures that fail the saving throw. So they'll make a strength saving throw. If they fail, they're restrained and can't move and take bludgeon damage per turn. And then attack rolls against like people affected will have advantage. I know, okay, it is nice. You restrain people and deal damage. It is nice. Nothing that a web can do, kind of. But I don't know. I just don't think it is so good on D&D. I don't know why. Although the use are pretty much the same. I will still give it a 6 because it might be one of your better combat options as the Great Old One Warlock. Oh, yeah. Yay! Our Archfey Warlock made to level 7. And now we can cast Dominate Beast. This spell sucks. I'll give it a 3. I don't know, maybe you want to dominate some beasts. 3. But at least we also have Great Invisibility, which is a great spell. And Warlocks do not have access to this normally. And so I'll give it an 8. Pretty good spell. Use it, become invisible. Advantage on all attacks, people attack with disadvantage. You can hide easily. Very good. 8 for that. As a Fiend Warlock, when we reach the 9th level, we get the option, new options from spells. 2 spells that no other Warlock can have. They are Cone of Cold and Flame Strike. Now, Cone of Cold is pretty solid. Basically because the damage is good, 88, very good damage, but also because, as you can see, its Constitution saving throw should take half damage. And that's very good because all AoE spells usually are Dexterity saving throw. So now if you need to attack more agile enemies, you can just go and use this spell. Pretty solid, I will give it an 8. Flame Strike though, not that good. The damage is 10d6, half fire and half radiant, okay? But Fireball at the same level will deal 10d6 fire damage also, so they have the same damage. The difference is Flame Strike will be better against creatures that are immune or resistant to fire, and against creatures that are vulnerable to Radiant. Yes, but the area is also smaller, so because of that I don't think that's worth having. If you have Fireball already, I would ignore Flame Strike, so I will give it a 3. 9 level as the Great Old One. The 2 spells are actually pretty good. First one is Dominate Person. It is good. You try to dominate your game, if they fail, well, they fight for you. It is that good. I will give it an 8. The other one is Telekinesis. Also good, you can move your allies, move your enemies, throw stuff around, deal damage. Not as good as the first one, but you can use it in creative ways, maybe even ways I don't know of, so if you have any way, just mention in the comments, yes? I'll give it a 7. Pretty good level for the Great Old One. That's it, 9th level now. We get 2 spells, one is pretty easily. Seeming is like you cast this guy's self on your whole party. Why do you want that as level 9 Warlock? I don't know. I know if you want to give that to an Archfey Warlock, give it as a special ability level 1, 2, 3 or 4, something like that. It is disgusting to have that on your spell book as one of your known spells as Warlock, since you know so few spells. That's a scroll spell, that's a spell you want on your wizard. So 0 for Warlocks. Now Dominate Person, same as with the Great Old One. Great spell. You cast, you can turn the tide of the battle. I'll give it an 8. Now level 10 is the last level that we gain anything in Baldur's Gate 3 that is specific to the subclasses on the Warlock class. And what we gain is Fiendish Resilience, so we choose any damage type and then we become resistant to it, means we take half damage. And we can change every short rest. This is pretty good, because if you choose Slashing, for example, that's 1/3 of the normal weapon attacks. If you know you're going to face something with lots of fire, you can pick it. If you know you're going to, I don't know, fight Mind Flayers and stuff, you can get Psychic. So that's pretty good ability. I'll give it a 7. So, 10th level as a Great Old One Warlock. We get 2 abilities that are pretty much the same ability. We get resistance to psychic damage. This is a defense. Every defense is okay. Psychic damage, though, is a very non-common damage until you get by the end of the game. Also, whenever someone does psychic damage to us, they take the same damage, so it doubles down on our resistance to psychic damage. We give it a 5 because it is like a super resistance. You know? You're having a resistance and you're punishing your attackers, and that might come in play. That might happen. Give it a 5. That's a nice, cool ability. 10th level as an Archfey Warlock. We get Beginning Defenses and a Pardon Moi for butchering your English. Basically, we are immune to Charm Condition. And there are several spells that when you fail the saving throw, you're going to be affected by them, and also by the Charm Condition. Being immune to that condition will make us immune to some other spells. Still, it's very rare to be charmed, so I don't find this very useful. It is a defense though, and all defenses are great. Maybe it will play out a little bit more by the end of your game, but I think it is worth it of a 4. That's its value, a 4. So everyone, we have our total here. 78 for the Fiend, 65 for the Great Old One, and 63 for the Archfey. The Fiend is by far the strongest. It leaves the others in the dust. The others are almost the same, depending on your own preference of spells, I think. And that's very bad. It is very bad to have discrepancy. One of the things I do a lot on D&D is actually I buff, mostly buff, very rarely nerf everything. So on my D&D tabletop games, I pretty much have like all the subclasses, feats, spells changed. So then when you want to make a choice, you only need to think about how it's going to be for your roleplay, how it's going to be the feeling of playing, because I will make sure that the mechanic is on par. I might make a video about it to see if interests anyone around here. Let's see. But that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching it. And yeah, have a great day. Ciao.